Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Christian. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, good day. Wherever you are, whenever you're seeing this, I hope you are good. So guys, today we're going to be doing a reading for the full moon, okay? We're going to have a full moon, a super moon at that, in Aries on October 7th. So we're going to be doing a reading today just to get into that, what we can expect, what's going to be happening with this full moon. Now, this is a super moon, okay? So we know the full moon is all about things coming to the surface, emotional energies, intuitive energies, all of those things, and then some. But because this is a super moon, those energies are going to be heightened. So you're going to feel even more emotional. The truths are going to be even more gaggy. Also, because this is a full moon in Aries, we know Aries is all about passion, dramatics, big, over the top. Okay, so this is going to be a doozy, to say the least, not in a bad way, but the things we're going to be revealing are going to be like bold. These are going to be bold truths, big things coming to the light, things that have the chance to make real change in our lives. So I actually think this is going to be a really good time to, look within. This is also going to be a time to be accountable. We're going to have to be accountable in our release. So I would say if you're going to be doing some releasing for this full moon, you would also want to add in, maybe how you have contributed to anything that you're releasing. That could be something you let go, releasing your contributions to anything that hasn't served you, or, to keeping yourself in old spaces, or whatever the case may be. This is definitely going to be a really good time to focus in on that. Also, this is the first super moon of the year. Can we believe that? First super moon of the year. So it is an opportunity to, really just lock in and take advantage of the moon. Connecting with the moon is always something beautiful, always something beneficial, and we want to do it even more so on a full moon, especially a super moon, especially a full moon in Aries. Because if you don't tap into any full moon, a full moon in Aries will get you right, because it's going to be a lot of energy. It's not going to be hard to tap into these things either if you aren't, used to working with the moon. Literally just doing some journaling, starting now as you're stepping into, the next week is going to be really beneficial, because the full moon energies are going to be active 3 days before and 3 days after October 7th. So we have some time now to prepare, think about what we want to release, also what we want to get prepared to welcome in. Aries is definitely going to be giving us a little wiggle room with this full moon. Usually a full moon you don't want to manifest, right? But this Aries energy is actually saying, you can prepare to set intentions. If you feel like you're ready to set intentions, you can be prepared to, let it be known what you're going to do to make sure you get X, Y, and Z, because that Aries energy is so self-sufficient. The Aries energy is about, taking accountability, taking a stand, making sure you're doing everything that you can to get what you're supposed to get. Aries energy is very much, I'm going to do it myself because I'm going to know it's done right if I do it myself. So that energy is going to be just making us feel confident and making us feel like we know what we want. And if you haven't been knowing what you want, this is going to be a good time to step into that. So let's go ahead and get into the tarot reading for this full moon, guys. I hope that you guys are having a good one and you're ready for the tea. We, of course, are going to be doing private full moon readings this week leading up until the full moon, and then a couple of days after. So you can check down below in the description box to get a private full moon reading for $30, a video recorded reading with these gorgeous tarot cards. We're going to be getting into just specifically how this full moon is showing up for you and different things that you may want to keep in mind as you're working to take accountability, set intentions, and just be specific about what you want in this season. So let's go ahead, guys. I've been shuffling and shuffling. I'm ready. Are you ready? We're ready. Let's go ahead and get into the tea. So we have the Four of Pentacles. The Four of Pentacles. We also have the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords. And we have the Ace of Wands. All right, we're starting off strong. Let's get into it. The Ace of Wands. So with the Four of Pentacles, the Two of Swords, and the Ace of Wands, okay, we are absolutely, being reminded to face what we're working to protect ourselves from. This Four of Pentacles is the energy. Let me get ready because we're about to get into the tea. The Four of Pentacles, this is the energy of protection, being specific, being specific with how you spend your energy, specifically how you spend your money. But the Four of Pentacles is saying, I'm going to protect my resources. I'm going to be wise when I'm planning. I'm not going to just do things willy-nilly. I'm going to really make sure I lock in, and I'm being specific about what I want and what I say and what I do. And I'm going to not just set the intentions, I'm going to follow up. That's the energy of the Four of Pentacles, like taking power, taking ownership, knowing that you have what it takes to not only sustain what you have, but bring more into your life. But we also have the Two of Swords. This is a sign to pull back the veil. This is a sign that says you need to pay attention to what's going on. You've been avoiding it long enough. You need to pay attention. And because of the Ace of Wands, I'm sorry guys, but I feel like there's something we're not going to be able to start until we deal with what we've been hiding from. Oh, I hate that for us, but that's the truth. The Ace of Wands, this is a new beginning of creativity, of passion, finding out a new talent that you have, getting a new job offer that allows you to travel the world and do things you've always wanted to do. This is about saying, here's a blank slate to do whatever you want. Here's a blank slate to have whatever you want, do whatever you want, have the creative expression you want, have the freedom you want, have the energy you want, the vibe you want. This is a chance to do it. Are you ready? Sign on the dotted line, So an opportunity is absolutely being prepared for us. But this Two of Swords says we don't even know what we're fighting against. We don't even know what's going to be a hindrance to us in this opportunity because we don't want to look at it. We don't want to deal with it. Maybe because we're so focused on being protective and we're so focused on having it together. We feel like if we focus on what isn't working, we may lose a little bit of this. It may be difficult for us to get back to this state, but the state of protection, the state of security is more than just about not moving or not doing anything or having things stay exactly the same so you know it's going to be okay. This is about having freedom to invest wisely. It's about having freedom to move, and do different things and step into different things. So we want to develop a more flexible, freeing energy with our resources, with our dreams, with the things that we have to offer. We don't want to feel like it can only be created if we do this, Getting success is not as simple as if you do this, you fail. If you do this, you succeed. It's not as simple as that. It's so much deeper than that. And it's about what's really making us afraid, because those things are going to be coming out when we're in a space of success. And you do not want those things to come out. Like the worst thing that can happen when you start something new is for old fears to start creeping in. So I really feel like this is a chance to release old fears. Maybe that's something we need to be specific about. Again, this full moon is very us focused. Sometimes we have a full moon that's like, yeah, the liars around you are being revealed. Yeah, your cheating cousin is coming to the light. Everybody gonna know how they've been getting down. This is not the tea. Okay, that's not what this full moon is about. This full moon is saying you take accountability. You realize what you need to be doing. You realize how you need to step it up. You realize how you haven't been, fully paying attention and fully locking in when you need to. So if you've been afraid, if your fears, if your insecurities, if things you've been telling to yourself have been stopping you from betting on yourself and trusting the process, this is what we need to get into because we have an Ace of Wands coming. So what the hell are we going to do when this new opportunity is presented to us? You're going to say, yes, I'm ready for it because you've been working towards something. You've been working towards something. So because that Four of Pentacles has you feeling strong and secure, you're going to take that next step. But there is something underneath the surface that needs to be focused on. And maybe we've been ignoring it for so long, we've forgotten what it is. I'm about to see what it is. I'm about to get to everybody's business. I want to get some tea about what this Two of Swords is talking about and what we are not allowing ourselves to recognize. What are we not allowing ourselves to recognize? We have the Queen of Cups and Justice, period. The Queen of Cups and Justice, okay? Not allowing ourselves to realize how we need to speak up for ourselves, how we haven't been speaking up for other people in our lives, how we maybe allow things to happen to us so we think it's not a big deal when it happens to others, how we are maybe cruel to ourselves and we really need more kindness, how we maybe don't always believe in our manifestation, so it's difficult for us to kind of carry on that energy. For whatever reason, we are having issues with adapting to this softness of the Queen of Cups. Maybe we feel like there's a weakness in this Queen of Cup energy, but the Queen of Cups is all about softness and femininity and being open and, trusting your intuition, leaning into the fear, leaning into what's going to crack you open. This is about childbirth. This is about creating something new. This is about fertility of the spirit. This is about, just being a walking, half. Kind of like not in a bad sense of not being whole, but this is about being able to mesh with anything, being able to create with anything, from anything, like just being that walking missing piece that can fit beautifully into any space, do what needs to be done and still move on to the next thing. It's not going to hurt you to step into the Queen of Cups. Maybe we need to be reminded of that. It's not going to hurt you at all to embrace softness. It'll only help you be softer with yourself. It'll only help you be softer in the future. This justice energy is a reminder to make sure that we're being specific about keeping balance in our lives. Justice says it's up to us to keep the balance. It's up to us to maintain order. It's up to us to say what goes and what doesn't. So the Queen of Cups is going to be how we're able to see what is serving us and what isn't. Because when you're feeling insecure, when you're feeling sensitive, when you're starting to feel this Two of Swords energy, what do? Do you run away from this Two of Swords? Obviously, we're running away from it. That's what we're seeing. But you have to look within that Two of Swords, because that's what's going to allow you to open up this Queen of Cup energy and open it up with boldness, with excitement. And that's this Aries energy giving us the boldness to look within things that maybe we couldn't look within in the past, you know, especially with this justice. With this justice, let's get deeper into the business. What is the justice about? What is the T? The chariot. The chariot. All right, justice and chariot. So there are certain things that need to happen. There are certain things that need to be brought into balance in order for you to move forward how you really want to in your independence, in your individuality, on your own, achieving what you want to achieve. You know, your dreams are very specific. You're called to kind of be a trailblazer. You're called to do things differently. You're called to step into a new space. But how are we going to do that without justice? How are we going to do that without maintaining order? How are we going to do that without being specific about what we're committing ourselves to? How are we going to do that without moving in fear every step of the way? You do not want to be moving in fear as a chariot. Moving in fear as a chariot is how you continue generational curses. That's literally this. The chariot is saying, I'm leaving behind what doesn't serve me. I'm leaving behind old traditions. I'm leaving behind what everybody thinks I should do and what everybody else is doing. And I'm about to do this. I'm stepping into this. I'm trusting this. I'm walking forward towards this. You know, it's a completely different mindset, a completely different energy to be stepping into. And it's very, very specific, you know, with the Four of Pentacles. And with the Ace of Wands, you know, if you're ready to step into the chariot energy, if you're ready to break barriers and generational curses and do something different, this is the perfect time to do it. But we have to do it the right way. We have to do it the right way. And with this chariot, you know, coming up in a sense of where are we not, you know, stepping into the balance, we need to be more specific about what we allow to, you know, not confuse us, because there are certain things that are confusing us, but confusion is the language of the enemy. We need to remember that. I've been saying that all the time. And that's the truth. Confusion is the language of the enemy. God doesn't bring you anything to confuse you. God will not bring you people, friends, things that confuse you. And I'm not talking about not knowing what's next because we don't trust our intuition. I'm talking about things that leave us feeling like we're lost. Things that leave us feeling like we haven't heard God's voice. What was the first step that you took into that? Because when we get into that space where we're so distant from our intuition, the chances are we've also been beaten down by people. We're burnt out. We're dealing with a lot of emotional stress, a lot of mental stress. It's a lot going on and a lot that we're taking in. Okay. And a lot of these messages are about things that we're doing on ourselves, individual journeys, taking the time to cry to yourself, to complain to yourself, to feel on your own what you're experiencing and what isn't working and how you can maybe shift, you know, what you want so you can fully get it. So yeah, you know, we definitely need to step into that openness of the Two of Swords and be willing to look within, be willing to take a deeper, you know, more, not a deeper, more in-depth look, but a deeper, more vulnerable look. Okay, we're being called to be vulnerable right now, guys. I know, I don't like it either, but we're being called to be vulnerable, you know, and vulnerability is the real strength, you know. Even though I think some cancers can be mentally ill. I used to have a best friend that was a Cancer, and, you know, I would tell her often that her strength was her vulnerability. You know, that for me in the past, I've had a lot of issues with expressing myself emotionally. I've had a lot of issues letting myself be vulnerable, even letting myself be loved. But this person had no issues with that. And I think that that vulnerability, that openness to accepting, you know, emotional change, emotional flow, emotional opportunities, I think that is definitely a gift. Now, of course, we have to know when to do that, but I definitely think we're being called to do that now. I definitely think we're being called to trust ourselves and put ourselves first more than ever. Ooh, we're getting a lot of pentacles, guys. We're getting a lot of pentacles, okay? Oh, we literally just got 3 pentacles back to back. So be mindful of career. Be mindful of what you want to do in career, how you want to grow in career. We started off with pentacles. We may finish this reading with pentacles, okay? But the pentacles are really, really important. Pentacles also represent all types of material wealth, security, practical success, you know, things like that. So this is definitely a time to be mindful of the decisions that we're making. Let's keep going, guys. We have the 3 of Pentacles. The 3 of Pentacles. We have the 10 of Pentacles. The 10 of Pentacles. And we have the 8 of Pentacles as well. The 8 of Pentacles as well. So with the 3 of Pentacles, we are in a space of collaboration, working together. So like I've said, you're doing this stuff on your own. You're doing it on your own. you are stepping into this new season on your own, but that's because you have to connect with other chariots. You have to connect with people who are also in your same space. So I think it will be very safe to say that you'll probably connect with people who have also left behind other things and other people to start their own journey on their own. So you all will be in the same space, but that's why you can't be moving in fear, because you're not connecting with people who are afraid. You're connecting with people who have what you need to put the dream together and make the dream happen. You're not connecting with people who are moving in fear, so you don't need to be moving in fear. Your ability to work with others, your ability to trust the process, your ability to lead and then follow is very, very important. That takes a lot of Queen of Cups work. It takes a lot of humility. Like I said, being able to connect in any spaces and create something beautiful, that is the Queen of Cup energy. And we may see that as vulnerability, but it does take vulnerability. And well, we may see that as a weakness, but it does take that vulnerability and that openness to, really step into a team and be a part of something beautiful. And I really think that, spiritually speaking, as much as this is an individual journey, there's so much that we can't get without others. There's so much that we have to experience and learn with others in our lives. So I definitely think we're going to be connecting in big ways with, relationships that matter. Possibly some networking as well. The Three of Pentacles talks about getting on a really good team, working with people that are on your same dream and vision. So definitely some networking coming up. We also have the Ten of Pentacles, okay? Completion in your financial goals, completion, getting the things that you want, having the financial wealth, having the generational wealth, realizing that you've done what you can do to really sit back and enjoy, and that's that Four of Pentacles balance as well. Being able to invest wisely, being able to enjoy the things that we're doing. We're not just working ourselves to death. We're making time and space for us to enjoy all of the hard work that we've been putting in. And that is definitely that Ten of Pentacles energy, just kind of reminding us of that and ensuring us of that. And also we have the Eight of Pentacles, apprenticeship, learning, being a scholar, being a student, okay? All things that require accountability, all things that require us to be bold in what we want. This is about advocating for yourself, saying, hey, I need more of this. Hey, I want to connect with somebody that's doing this. Like, you may have to go out and maybe do some of the networking on your own, and that's something that I've been having to do. I want I want to step into a bigger role in one of the positions that I'm currently in. And, I had to work on creating my own leads, making my own connections, speaking to people, talking to people. Hey, this is what you do. This is what I do. We need to get connected. That's something that you have to do. And you have to trust yourself. You have to trust your vision. You have to trust your ability to speak to others and relay what you want to say in a way that is comfortable and confident and clear, but also in a way that is, attractive, a way that gets people interested in what you have to say, and that takes trusting yourself. It also takes being okay with things not working out, so it's a lot that goes into that. But I feel like we're definitely being called to, do things bigger, dream bigger, and really, 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 really put ourselves to the test and just kind of tap in. How much do you want it? How much do you want it? Okay, bark like you want it. Get down on your knees and work like you want it. Okay? Do what you want to do. Work like you want it. Like, make it a point that you're ready for it. Don't let it be a question of if you're ready for it. Let it be known that you're ready for it. We have the Page of Swords. We have the King of Cups. So we have our King and our Queen, and we have the Eight of Cups. Okay, so with the Page of Swords, new ideas, new things, bring new things in. Get your head in the books. Doing a lot of research is going to be good. If you aren't feeling equipped, get equipped. Read some books about how to talk to people. Learn about how to network. Learn about how to connect with people. Learn about how to put your best foot forward. If that is something that you don't feel, well versed in, be open to learning. Be open to learning from others. Be open to seeing how other people interact and how other people lead and move forward, and figure out how you can use that to kind of create something that really, really works for you and that will help drive you forward. Also, with our King of Cups energy, this is the energy of, protection, provider energy, being very emotional intelligent, being very, emotionally aware of what you need, of where you're going. The King of Cups is kind of eating on here, he's kind of eating. So I feel like, with this King of Cup energy, especially followed by the Eight of Cups, of course, this is a full moon, guys, so we can't get away without the emotional part of it. Even though it's a lot of practical work we're being called to do, the Eight of Cups is all about leaving behind things that don't serve you emotionally and seeking something that's going to help you better in the future. So we may need to develop a different relationship with our vulnerability. We may need to stop seeing certain things as a weakness and start seeing it as our superpower. We may need to just really look within and challenge ourselves to think differently and feel differently and arrive differently, really challenging ourselves to be who we want to be in a different way that leads us forward. So yes, guys, I definitely think with this Eight of Cups, you know, we have an opportunity here to deal with this fear once and for all and put this behind us. You know, that's why we had that Justice card and the Chariot. This is about doing things differently for the long run. Like, these are major arcana energy saying do something different. You know, this isn't like, oh, I'm gonna just, you know, step into this networking and do this thing, but, you know, 6 months down the line, I'm not gonna be able to sign on the dotted line because I'm gonna be too afraid. That gives you nothing. That does no good. It does nothing. That's why I say confusion is the language of the enemy. It does you no good to get to where you're supposed to be. And you like, am I supposed to be here? That does you no good. Now, you may question if you're supposed to be there, but guess what? You'll immediately be met with evidence and answers and responses that, yes, I'm supposed to be here because of this, and this. You know, you'll know it very, very clear. You have to know that you know that you know that you know. My dad used to say that about knowing your purpose and knowing who God wants you to be, and just knowing the things that you know for yourself. You have to know that you know that you know that you know. Like, it has to be in your spirit. It has to be ingrained in who you are, that you are the Chariot, that you are destined for greatness, that you're walking around with the 10 of Pentacles, with the 8 of Pentacles, with the King and Queen of Cups, that you're walking around with these bold, powerful energies. And I think the Aries energy is kind of telling us to kind of like chin up a little bit. I think the Aries energy is like, stop all that crying, you know, like not in a sense of physically crying, but stop all that whining, stop all the pity party. Like, don't feel like you can't move forward. You can't lift the veil. You can't see what, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Like, these are not other people's issues you're having to deal with. This is your shit. This is your dirty laundry, Bookie. Nobody can, you know, help you deal with that except for the Lord. This is your dirty laundry. You're equipped to deal with it. You're equipped to face that shit. You're equipped to face what's behind the veil, what you haven't been able to see, what's been causing you to still feel like a failure in the midst of your success. You're faced to, you know, you're able to face that. You're equipped to deal with that more than you think, more than you know. I think we definitely need to just give ourselves more credit for just dealing with hard things and being able to face whatever we need to face. I feel like we're wrapping this up. Let me know how you guys feel about this mighty, mighty read, okay? Let me know how you feel. Of course, we have more Pentacles. Of course, we have Temperance. And look at how gorgeous this card is. Oh, my God. Look at Temperance. I love these cards because of the gold leaf. She is almost all gold leaf, baby. Temperance. Beautiful. We have the King of Swords. I'm glad I'm wrapping the reading up on this note because this is gorgeous. King of Swords, and we have the 9 of Pentacles. Let me know how you feel about it. See you later. I basically can wrap up right there, but I'm not. Let's get into it. So, Temperance. Temperance says, flow beautifully. Look at this beautiful flow of water from one pail to the next. You know, Temperance says, flow. Don't worry about time. Enjoy the journey. Have faith. Stick with it. Keep it going. You know, keep on moving. Don't stop. Temperance is just like a beautiful energy to adapt when you're stepping into anything new. Temperance says, it's okay wherever I am. It's okay. Wherever I am, I love it. Wherever I am, it's fine. Wherever I am, I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I have what I need. It's going to be okay. I'm doing the things. Like, Temperance is a reminder that you're good, that you have what you need, that you can keep the faith, that you can stay positive, that you can stay thinking and believing and hoping for something better, that you don't have to lose faith, that you don't have to lose your energy. You don't have to lose what tells you to keep dreaming. You can keep that energy alive and feel good about it. You know, stop feeling like you should stop dreaming or stop hoping because things haven't been working out. You know, Temperance says never lose the faith and keep moving forward. Also, we have the King of Swords. This is trusting your judgment fully. This is someone that is very, very educated, someone that is a judge and the juror, you know, and the bailiff, you know, and the CEO. You know, this is someone that is in full control of where they're going and what they're doing. And because we have the Page of Swords followed by this, the King of Swords, you're going to be a master at what you're learning right now. You're going to trust your discernment. You're going to trust your judgment. You're going to trust where you're being led. This is definitely going to be a full, like, 180 shift for you mentally, which is going to be beautiful. Which is why we have the 9 of Pentacles. Look at how many grapes she has. Y'all know back in the day, poor folks didn't have grapes. Y'all wasn't drinking no wine. She is in her vineyard. She is abundant. The 9 of Pentacles talks about financial independence, living a life of luxury, taking care of yourself, by yourself, for yourself. You know what I'm saying? So we're destined for all of this abundance, all of this prosperity, all of these doors to be opened up for us. Why do you think that is? it's because you already have what it takes. It's because there's nothing on this journey that you're not going to be equipped for. There's nothing on this journey that God is going to put in front of you that's just going to flop. You know, you want to continue to trust yourself and know that everything is going to be just what it needs to be. Everything and anything that you step into is going to be exactly what it needs to be for you. And you can walk into it being confident. You can walk into it having faith. You can walk into it trusting that you are right where you need to be. So yes, guys, I really, really love this message. I hope you guys loved it as well. This is the tea for the full moon in Aries, the super moon, full moon in Aries that we're going to have on October 7th. Make sure you guys check into the description box to get a private full moon reading to see what you can expect, how you to be taking accountability, how you should move forward with these energies. I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. Let me know how you guys felt about this message. And I will see you guys next time as always. Bye guys. Bless.